Ladies and gentlemen, we are live and welcome to Saturday Night Dies. We are making history tonight on Saturday Night Dies. We are doing our very first ranking for a horror franchise. But before we get into that, I do want to talk about some of the latest horror news that we have gotten recently because we have gotten a lot of horror news. I also want to say right here in the beginning of the show, probably not going to be a long show tonight. It might be about an hour, and that's it. So don't expect a super long Saturday Night Dies tonight. I'm also making this episode sort of an AMA. You guys can ask me anything in the live chat. But yes, I will be ranking the entire Evil Dead franchise tonight. I'm not sure if anyone's hopping on. They might. If they do, I'll add them to the stream, of course. But you may just have me tonight for Saturday Night Dies, which is new. But I'm excited because I wanted to rank the Evil Dead franchise with you guys. I'm kind of on an Evil Dead high right now because I did go see Lee Cronin's The Mummy, which I may end up talking about that here in a little while, just to have some more stuff to talk about. But again, this is also going to be an AMA. You guys can ask me anything in the live chat. But let's go ahead and get right into the horror news to start this show out. And I want to start out with this one. So we have heard recently that Don Mancini will be directing the next Chucky movie, and it will be going to theaters. It is going to get a theatrical release, which is big for the Child's Play franchise. We haven't had a Chucky movie in theaters since Seed of Chucky in, I think it was 2005. So, that's a big deal for Chucky. I think that Don Mancini directing it is fine. Overall, I don't know if I can really say I'm excited for this new Chucky movie though, because Chucky to me has just died off. The franchise is dead. After the sci-fi TV show for Chucky, I have been pretty much out of the Chucky mood because the way that series ended was terrible. And from what I've heard, the movie is going to pick up where the TV show left off, which I'm not sure how that's going to work and why they're going that direction. To me, it's weird. Don Mancini has destroyed the Child's Play franchise, in my opinion. I'm sure we'll talk about Chucky more here on the channel at some point. But yes, we are getting a Chucky movie. I'm not sure when it is coming out, but like I said, it will be directed by Don Mancini and it will be getting a theatrical release. So for the Chucky fans out there, I'm pretty sure you guys are excited about that. I did hear also that this new Chucky movie is supposed to be scary again. I think Don Mancini himself actually said that this new Chucky movie is set to be scary again. That's what the Child's Play franchise needs. I mean, Curse of Chucky that came out in 2013 went back to the roots of the franchise and made Chucky scary again. And the franchise definitely needs that. I know there's people out there who love, comedic Chucky, but I think that it's just gone too far. We need Chucky scary again. I know that Chucky in general may not be scary to some people, but like those early Child's Play films, Bride of Chucky to me is like that perfect balance of scary and comedy. Curse of Chucky was scary. I mean, we need to go back to that because a lot of people have dropped out of the Child's Play franchise because they just don't care anymore because Don Mancini has butchered the Chucky franchise way too bad. People are just not in the mood for any sort of Chucky content, which is sad because, I mean, Chucky's iconic. So hopefully this new movie can kind of bring people back into the Chucky mode and get people watching again. But that's some big news for sure. I mean, we all knew we were going to get another Chucky movie. Like Don Mancini's not done with this franchise. I don't think he ever will be. He's going to drag this franchise out for as long as he can, which is fine. Chucky makes money, and if it does get a theatrical run, that's pretty big for the franchise for sure. Um, Up next, this one's a fun one to talk about. People's been wanting this one for a while. There is going to be a World War Z sequel finally, and I say finally because I'm a big fan of World War Z, and I'm sure at some point here on the show we're going to talk about zombies. We'll probably do a whole episode dedicated to zombie horror films, and I'm sure we'll talk about World War Z. But it's about time that World War Z gets a sequel because I enjoy the first World War Z a ton. That came out in 2013, starring Brad Pitt. Um, Obviously the newer zombie movies have nothing on the original zombie movies like George Romero's work. Um, George Romero's against running zombies, so he's not a big, or he wasn't a big fan of that because George Romero has passed. Let me get a drink here. We're 5 minutes in. I'm already talking too much. What's up, Headhunter? Welcome to the stream, bro. Um, but yeah, World War Z getting a sequel is definitely big. I'm glad that it's happening because I feel like that's one that definitely deserved a sequel. I think a lot of people want to see that, so I'm excited about that one. Keep coughing, bro. And of course, since we're on the Evil Dead topic, I do want to talk about this as well. Evil Dead Burn, which we're getting this year. Some of you are probably wondering, why are you even doing a Evil Dead franchise ranking when there's a new movie right around the corner? And not just one new movie. Evil Dead Wrath is also set to come out, I believe, in 2028. So we have a couple of Evil Dead movies right around the corner, which is awesome. Anytime they're making a new Evil Dead movie, I'm sold. I love this franchise so much. You guys will know more about that as the show goes on. Evil Dead is one of my favorite horror franchises of all time. I think that so far the Evil Dead franchise has been perfect. I don't think there's any bad Evil Dead franchise. What? I don't think there's any bad Evil Dead movies at all. I love all of them. Very strong franchise, and I hope that continues to stay that way. But with a title like Evil Dead Burn, I think we're in for something very crazy for sure. So we'll kind of see how Evil Dead Burn goes. But I can't wait to see what they do with that, and I can't wait to see what they do with Evil Dead Wrath as well. So I'm pretty excited for that. But Evil Dead Burn, I don't really know anything about it. I don't know what they're going to be doing with Evil Dead Burn. But I'm excited. I'm excited to see where that goes. Somebody is here tonight, guys. Let me welcome in the one, the only, Michael Myers. What is up, bro?
Yo, what's up, man? My bad. My apologies. A little
Oh no,
late, but
good, bro. You're perfectly fine, dude.
no,
So,
man, it's because like my computer was lagging right now. So
oh yeah,
usually I go on live on my computer, but this is my first time on
oh
StreamYard on the phone. But I guess it worked out perfectly, man. So
yeah, dude. You sound great,
my
bro.
bad, man. I'm a
Sound
few
good.
minutes late, but yeah,
Oh
man,
no,
I'm
you're
ready for
fine, bro.
today's episode.
You're fine, bro. So I was
How you
kind of
doing,
giving
man? How you
them
doing?
pretty good, dude. How are you doing?
Pretty good, man. Yeah, yeah. Just
Nice.
ready. Looking forward to this new show, man. Episode 4, right? If I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
episode 4, man. So
Hell
I
yeah,
was
bro.
giving them an update on some of the horror news that we got recently because a lot of stuff has dropped. I mentioned that we're getting a new Chucky movie, directed by
Oh
Don
yeah.
Mancini. It's supposed to get a theatrical run. You know, Don Mancini, I think, said that it's supposed to be like Scary Chucky again. What are your thoughts on that? I just talked about that not long ago.
Yeah, man. I actually did a video on it, but I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, as long as
Heck
they
yeah.
bring the classic feeling, they bring back what we loved about the original Child's Play series.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I mean, all I can do, man, is hope for the best. You know,
Yep.
uh, even
Definitely.
though I could see it like they could do whatever with it.
Hmm.
Like trying to make it feel like the series, but at the end of the day, I hope they live up to their word, man, for sure.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
hope so too. I hope they don't screw it up because I did hear that. I said this earlier also that I think the next movie is taking place right after the TV show, and like the TV show was not amazing, especially that ending. So I'm kind of worried about that if they do continue like with those characters and where the show left off.
Yeah, man. I mean, hopefully not, but
Yeah,
I could see them like still kind of acknowledging that timeline, the
right.
series.
They probably will.
Yeah, but hopefully they don't like mingle onto that too long, too far, like too deep
Right.
into it.
If I was them, I would just drop that whole thing and just kind of like you don't have to really like start over or start a new story, but I would just retcon that TV show.
Hey, man, do a series. I mean, instead of continuing the series, do a video game. That's what like Chucky would
That'd be
work perfect
interesting.
for that.
Yeah, dude,
Instead
definitely
of
for
trying to do like a big major movie, like a lot of
yeah,
the horror series have gone to. I think a game would be kind of fun because the Chucky
it
series, like
would.
it's really like adventurous, right? So like I think it
Yeah.
would do a good game for sure.
Yeah, it would be interesting, definitely. I also
Yeah.
mentioned there was some news too that we are getting a World War Z sequel. Are you a fan of World War Z?
You know what, man? I have not seen that movie. That's
Dang.
the one with Brad Pitt, right?
Brad Pitt, yeah.
Yeah, man. I remember it being a big movie at the time, but I never seen it to be honest. It's like the end of the world, right? Kinda.
Yeah, yeah, like a post-apocalyptic movie for sure. It's a different take on zombies, man. You know, they're like running around and stuff like that. It's like zombies on crack, dude. I would recommend
Oh,
it
okay.
actually. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
crazy.
I've not seen it. Yeah, but it's a really popular film. I heard like throughout. Like I've always heard of it. Yeah.
Right. This one I haven't mentioned yet. I'm on Bloody Disgusting right now because like so much stuff has dropped, and I wanted to cover a little bit of that on the show before we got to the ranking.
Yeah.
So we're also getting Final Destination 7 in May of 2028, which I'm actually excited for that because Final Destination Bloodline I thought was really good, and I think the Final Destination franchise is actually really solid. So I'm excited to
Yeah.
see where they go with 7 for sure. What about you, dude?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's a good sign that they announced that a new
Yeah,
sequel coming up because the last one did pretty good. I remember it was like
definitely, man.
the comeback. Yeah, man. Bloodlines, right? Yeah. I have not
Yeah,
seen it yet.
Bloodlines.
I was going to see it. I remember initially at the movie theater,
Yeah,
but at the end I didn't find the time, man. But
right.
it's definitely a film that a lot of positive like feedback. So I
Definitely.
gotta check it out ASAP. Yeah, but the
Dude,
like
for
you said, man, the rest of the series is like iconic for sure.
right. Dude, and for the 6th movie in a franchise, Bloodline was definitely solid. I feel like Final Destination is one of those franchises that, like, hasn't lost its greatness, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like because usually when you get to the 6th installment in franchises, they start to lose some steam. Final Destination,
Yeah,
man, they have an iconic opening for 6. I won't say what it is, but it's not, like, as good as, like, the log truck opening in 2, but, like, it's up there, man. I think it's another iconic opening for sure. So when you get the time, dude, I would definitely recommend Bloodline for sure.
yeah, man, and like you said, if it's a pretty good sixth entry, I
Yeah,
mean, it's definitely worth it. I mean, if you compare it to the sixth entry to Scream, I'm pretty sure it's I've heard more positive about
yeah,
the sixth Final Destination than like the sixth
right.
Scream film,
Yeah,
compared. But
dude. Yeah, definitely
yeah,
better. I think it's definitely better. Like Scream 6 is good, but Final Destination 6 I think is definitely a better movie, like by far.
yeah, man,
Um,
gotta check it out ASAP. Yeah,
dude, I can't believe how much news has dropped. Like I said, I follow Bloody Disgusting, and like so much stuff has dropped in the past week. It's insane, bro.
yeah, man. I heard. I mean, the one that sticks to mind is the Howling remake. I guess they're supposed to
Yes.
remake the Howling.
Studio Canal is remaking The Howling, dude. That's interesting to me.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Cause
yeah,
The
that one stood
Howling,
out for me for sure.
dude, The Howling is so classic. It's one of my favorite Joe
Oh yeah,
Dante films. Like outside of like Gremlins. What else did Joe Dante do? Why am I blanking? Gremlins is the biggest one I can think of right now for some reason. But The Howling is my second favorite werewolf movie of all time. And like I'm kind of surprised they're remaking it, but I'm interested in it. They remake everything though, man. And I hope they don't
yeah,
screw
man.
it up. I really hope they don't.
Hell yeah, man. I mean, like I think not like I feel like it's also like as far as when it comes to the D Wallace roles,
Mm.
I think that's one of the standouts. Uh,
Oh yeah.
like as far as like I hear you. I feel like the Howling is more known for D Wallace than like the director, because
Yeah.
like you said, you we don't really like another other films don't really stick out other than like Gremlins, right?
Yeah, I'm
But
blanking for some reason. I think he did a segment in the Twilight Zone movie as well.
oh yeah,
Um,
yeah,
man, what
man.
else
But
did he
yeah,
do?
like you said, man. But when it comes, like I think of like that's one of those films I consider like when you think of D Wallace, oh yeah, that's like right underneath,
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, man. As a matter of fact, I was gonna do like a top five werewolf video on my channel or something
dude,
like
that
that.
would be
That's a good like
awesome,
see that's a good like topic. But yeah,
dude.
I agree with you
Definitely,
though. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Like you said, everything
yeah.
gets remade, but yeah, man.
It's gonna be cool. I mean, I definitely want to see what they do with it. And D Wallace was like, dude, is it just me? But like D Wallace was like literally glowing in the Howling. Like she looked beautiful in the Howling, bro.
Yeah, man, for sure.
Like okay,
Every film she's been
dude,
in.
she
Yeah.
does. She looks great, dude.
E.T.,
Um,
all that. Yeah.
E.T., bro, I forgot about E.T. I forgot about her being in that, dude. She's in Critters
Yeah.
also. Have you seen Critters?
Yeah, man. I was watching
Yeah.
like I think the fourth one the other day.
Oh, yeah?
Like the one where it's like in space, right?
Is
Yeah.
that the one with Leo, or is he in 3? Leonardo DiCaprio? I think he's in 3,
I'm
actually.
not sure, bro. I think it's the third one, but yeah, I
Yeah, I
saw
think
the
he's in
fourth one. It
3.
was kind of like some low budget stuff, but it
Yeah,
was just like playing randomly on the TV, and I was like, oh
right.
shit, like looking forward to it. I seen the first one, but I
Yeah.
know like Critters is like the one like kind of considered like back to back with the Gremlins, right?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Similar, kind of similar, yeah,
It's like the
for
horror
sure.
version of Gremlins, yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure, man.
Definitely, bro.
Yeah,
Another one I wanted to mention. Have you seen Weapons yet? I know we talked about Weapons briefly on the last episode, but have you seen it?
I have not seen it, man, but yeah, I
Oh,
also
okay.
did hear about the new upcoming prequel, right? Prequel, yeah,
Yeah, that's what
but
I
I
was
have
gonna
not seen the film
mention.
itself.
That's what I was gonna mention because Weapons was like one of my favorite movies of last year. And the Aunt
Yeah.
Gladys character, like, stuck out to everybody. Like, ever since Weapons came out, she has become such a big character now for horror. And they're doing a prequel movie about Aunt Gladys, which I think is interesting. And I think Zach Krager is coming back to do the film. He also directed Weapons. I think he's coming back to do this one. It's supposed to come out in September of 2028, according to Bloody Disgusting, which has me excited because, like, Zach Krager, to me, is a great director. I think he's very good for the horror genre because Barbarian was fun. I thought Weapons I thought was even better. Next, he's doing Resident Evil, and then now we got this Weapons prequel. So he's like really throwing out these horror movies at us, and I can't wait to see what he does with it because to me, Weapons was just very well made. I know you haven't seen it, but like the Aunt Gladys character that they're making this prequel based off of was like a super creepy character for sure. So I definitely recommend checking it out.
Yeah, man, I gotta check it out. I heard nothing but positive about that one as
Yeah,
well. You know, like
definitely,
I
bro.
guess like I heard it was like the best film of like last year, right?
It
So
it might be my favorite. I mean, Sinners is up there as well, but it might be my favorite. I thought Weapons was awesome.
yeah, man, gotta check it out for sure. Yeah,
Um, Up next, this one has me really excited because I love the first movie, and I'm a big Osgood Perkins fan. Longlegs 2 is happening, and Osgood Perkins is reteaming with Nicolas Cage to make the sequel. So I don't know if Oz is directing it or what, but Nicolas Cage is coming back, and they're making Longlegs 2. Have you seen the first one?
yeah, I saw the first one. I saw the first one like two times in theaters. I
Yeah.
remember, man, last
Did you
year,
like it?
and I did, man. You know what?
There you go.
I mean, on my second watch, I did like a few things like I didn't really care too much. Like the second watch is like to
Yeah,
me it wasn't as rewatchable, but like I remember the first time watching it, man, it was pretty. There's like some solid horror moments in there, you know, and I really do
definitely.
dig the whole storyline with the with the female detective, right? Or the
Yes. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
yeah, I think she carried it on pretty good, man, and the whole Nicolas Cage character, it was
Yeah,
kind of it stood out from a lot of films that came out that year. It was like a
definitely.
year or two ago, yeah.
Yeah, and Osgood Perkins is to me like one of the best modern day horror directors. I think he's done great with
Yeah,
almost every film he's put out. He's one of my favorites. He's up there with like Ty West for me, Robert Eggers. Like to me, those guys are like at the top right now. Definitely Osgood, Ty West, and Robert Eggers. Those guys are like running horror right now.
Also, the new guy who made what was his name? The who made the recent Mummy? Something
Oh, Lee Cronin.
Lee Cronin. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think yeah, man. I'm
he's
I'm
up
I'm looking
there
forward to
too.
watching it tonight or tomorrow. Yeah,
Oh, you're going tomorrow,
either or. Yeah, but I'm looking forward to it,
dude.
man. Yeah, because I'm like those. I've been like recently. I've been into like the older Universal
Yeah,
properties.
heck yeah,
So
man,
I'm looking forward to this modern adaptation. Yeah.
dude. Um, I'll talk about the Mummy a little bit here. I won't give you any spoilers or anything, or anybody in the chat, because I'm sure a lot of people still hasn't seen it.
Yeah, man.
I will say I agree with you that Lee Cronin is definitely like one of the best, and he's got some more projects on the way too. I've heard. I'm not sure what they are,
Yeah.
but he's definitely great. The Mummy is unique. It's not like I will say it's not your typical Mummy movie. Just know that going in. Um, I know we haven't done our
Yeah, I
ranking yet
heard.
for
Yeah.
Evil Dead. Obviously he directed Evil Dead Rise, which I thought was really good. What did you think of Evil Dead Rise? I mean, we'll start with that.
Yeah, I mean, it was good, man. I dug it, and that's one of the main reasons. Like, people are saying it feels like an Evil Dead film, so I'm looking
It
forward to that.
does.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say, it feels very much like Evil Dead Rise. So, like, if you're a fan of Evil Dead Rise, you're probably gonna like The Mummy, but if you go in wanting a typical Mummy movie, you're not gonna get that. But I will
Yeah.
say that this movie has some very disgusting moments, some very, creepy moments. There are a few times where I actually cringed watching the movie because the new Mummy movie uses pretty much all practical effects, and it shines in the movie. I
Yeah.
will say that there's a few things that happen where I was literally in the theater like, "Ooh," like it's gonna make you cringe a little bit. It's definitely gross, and it ultimately is a Evil Dead movie with a mummy involved. That's all I'll say.
Yeah,
So
man.
I don't
Yeah,
spoil it.
it's definitely a big plot, like a big major release of the
Yeah.
Mummy. Like, it's a big like it's not like a underground kind of movie. Like you could say like the latest horror films. Also, like for example, Silent Night, Deadly Night. That was like bloody
Yeah.
disgusting. It wasn't like
Yeah.
everywhere, but the Mummy, yeah, man, it's like a big
The
major release, and the promotion was great, man. I've seen a
yeah.
lot of like promo they try to do with that. It was great. It was
Yeah.
pretty good, you know.
The Mummy, topped anything in that new Silent Night, Deadly Night movie, I'll say that. There's a few things in it that is literally pretty
Oh yeah.
disgusting, which is
Oh
pretty
yeah, like I said,
impressive.
man. Yeah, since it's a bigger, more.
Yeah,
It's not like a underground kind of movie. Like it's like like it's a major studio release. So
yeah,
it
yeah,
definitely like everyone's been posting. Everyone like positive, but I've also heard like negatives. But
yeah.
like I
I've
said, man,
heard
I think
negatives too.
yeah, I think like you said, I guess it has. If you're one of those people who's into like gore and all
Yeah.
that like extra stuff, this is the movie for you. You know, uh,
It delivers on that. I will say that, it's
like Evil Dead
almost
Rise did. Yeah,
yes, just like Evil Dead Rise did. I will say that this leans more toward a possession movie. I'll say that. That's all I'm gonna
yeah,
say about it.
yeah.
But with
I've heard
that
as well. Like it's like a different story than your typical like
yeah.
mummy story.
Yeah,
So
it's not your typical mummy just coming back from the dead, which I like because,
yeah,
they try to remake the old Universal monsters and, like, half the time it just doesn't work. Like that Wolfman movie we got last year from, Lee Winnell didn't really
Blumhouse.
land
Yeah,
for me. Yeah, a lot of that because the new Mummy's Blumhouse also, but I feel like a lot of them they just almost try to copy and paste, like, what the original movie is. This one does not
yeah.
do that. This is, like, its own Mummy thing, and that's why I
Also, this
respect
new
it
one
even
is
more.
Blumhouse.
Yeah, Blumhouse, yeah.
Okay, all right,
Yep.
man. Yeah, that's a good sign then. I mean, I think that all has to do with credit to the director Lee Cronin.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, and James Wan
uh
produced it, I think, as well.
yeah, man. And from what I've heard, he passed on because I know we're also getting like new Evil Dead films, which is the
Yep,
we just found out the new one's coming out in July. Evil Dead
yep,
Burn,
July.
right?
Yeah, Evil Dead
Yeah,
Burn,
man.
yeah.
And from what I heard, he passed on the next Evil Dead film
Yeah,
to work on the mummy, and
right.
I think that's a good idea because like I said, the mummy's like a big property. So
Mhm.
obviously, like I don't know if he was like a new director, right? But it was a good start, starting from an Evil Dead
Yeah,
movie and then going on to the mummy, which is Universal, right? A bigger property.
right, yeah.
And yeah, that's what I read as well. Like he passed on on these latest Evil Dead films, but I'm looking forward to the
Yeah.
new Evil Dead movies as well, man. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, me too, man. I'm excited to see where it goes.
I
But
think
the
they
only
shot
thing
them back to back, right?
I think
I'm
so.
pretty
I mean,
sure
does
because
Evil Dead Wrath come out next year or 2028?
I think it's gonna be Evil Dead Burn first, and then
Yeah,
Wrath. But from what I know, they're coming out like the new one's coming out this year, and then the next one next year. So I'm pretty sure they shot
okay.
them back to back because they announced them
Yeah.
the same time. So I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
I'm excited. I did see that Sam Raimi said that Evil Dead Wrath, I think it's like one of the most like extreme Evil Dead movies, or the more extreme like
yeah,
out of the two that they've shot recently. So I'm excited for that one, but I'm definitely excited for Evil Dead Burn also. But I will
both of
say
them.
one
Yeah,
thing about Lee Cronin though. I'm hoping he doesn't stick with this style for like all of the movies he makes going forward, because I feel like if every movie he makes just feels like Evil Dead, it's not going to work for him. I think it worked for The Mummy, but I think whatever he does next,
yeah.
he's going to have to change his style a little bit, or else it's just going to feel repetitive.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah. So hopefully these new filmmakers, man. I'm not sure who's behind the new Evil Dead
Yeah,
films,
I'm not either.
but hopefully they bring something different than Evil Dead Rise. You know?
Yeah,
Yeah. But you're
definitely.
right about Cronin. Yeah,
Yeah, for sure. And
I
with
agree.
that being said, bro, let's go ahead and get into our ranking. We got 5 films
Oh
to
yeah,
rank.
man.
Let's go from
I'm ready.
least favorite to favorite. I don't want to say worst, man, because I love the Evil Dead franchise. I think all the movies are solid. I want
Yeah.
to say that right here. I don't know if you feel the same way. Do you like all of them?
You know what, man? I agree. Yeah. I don't call them the like compared to the Scream films. Like it's
Yeah,
kind of hard to say the worst because
yeah,
obviously when seven it kind of it's worth saying worse, but I mean
right,
yeah, like you said, I think the rank is like least favorite, because like you
right.
said, I don't think none of these films are terrible. I mean they did what
No,
they did, and you definitely got to recognize that. Yeah, but
for
yeah, I don't
sure,
I
bro.
I consider this more of like a least favorite, like the worst
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
So I'll go ahead and start this out.
Yeah.
Since we were on the topic of Lee Cronin, last for me, I'm putting Evil Dead Rise. Like I said, I do
Okay.
like this film. I like
Yeah.
Lee Cronin's style. I think the guy definitely has like an eye for making Evil Dead movies. I'd love to see him return to the franchise and make a new one. Will that
Yeah.
happen? Probably not, since he turned down Burn and it ended up wanting to do The Mummy. But this was solid, and the performance by Alyssa Sutherland, who plays, I think, Ellie in this movie, when she gets possessed, is phenomenal. The
Yeah. The
effects in
mom,
this
right? Yeah.
movie, yeah, the mom, and the effects in this movie, just like in The Mummy, are like top notch. They're great. I don't have a ton of complaints with this movie, but I just feel like out of all of the rest that we're going to talk about, this one is the least for me right now. But that
Yeah.
doesn't mean it's bad. I don't want people to think that I'm saying this is bad because I think all the films are good. But for me, I got to put this at my least favorite. But overall, Evil Dead Rise is definitely a good movie, and I would recommend it to anybody who hasn't seen it for sure. So that's last on my list.
Yeah, I totally get it. Yeah, man. A lot of people, I've heard a lot of people be like that being their least favorite, and I totally
Yeah,
agree because I think Evil Dead Rise, you know, it did. You could say it had something good going with it, but it had a lot of,
yeah,
it focused more on like the gore, and it didn't really have much substance in there.
yeah.
But other than that, dude, I get you though. Yeah, I get your point of view. But my least favorite, like I
Mhm.
said, I'm not saying it's the worst film, man, but I got Army of Darkness,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
1993.
All right.
Yeah, man. I know it's a iconic film. This film,
Isn't
like I
that
think
isn't that DVD Anchor Bay?
it is, man. Yeah,
Dude,
it is the
nice,
old school Anchor
nice.
Bay.
Heck yeah, dude.
Got this like at a used DVD store like a while back,
Nice.
man. It's not your typical like poster, right? I know
I
the
know
the
that
the
cover is like hilarious, isn't it?
iconic.
Yeah,
Yeah, man. You see it
definitely,
everywhere,
bro.
and I mean this film, like I said, it you could at the time you could from what I've like done research, I guess it was like kind of like a flop at the time.
Yeah,
It didn't do it wasn't as successful, but I think with time
right,
it's grown a cult following. But
definitely.
it just kind of fell off from the previous two, and
Right, right.
it was just a little too cheesy for me. Like it's not one of
Gotcha.
those films I revisit, and when I try to do like I really can't finish it, but I mean, it does hold its status. It holds its
Yeah,
weight for sure. Like I said, it's
right.
the '90s, one of the most iconic film
Yeah,
from the '90s for sure. But
definitely,
it's like
definitely.
it's not terrible. Like if you're into the whole horror comedy, yeah, this
Yeah,
is the film for you. But my least favorite, yeah,
there you go.
for
Dude,
sure.
I feel
Bruce
like I
Campbell
feel
did a
like
great job, like always. Yeah,
yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I feel like, mine is gonna surprise you then moving forward, because I have Army
yeah,
of Darkness in a spot that I think is gonna surprise you. It might even surprise the audience, so
yeah, man. Let's get it. Yeah, can't
all
wait.
right.
Yeah,
Next on my list, number 4, because there's only 5 films. Number 5 on my list was Evil Dead Rise. Number 5 on Michael Myers was Army of Darkness. Up next, I have to put Evil Dead 2013 by Fede Alvarez or Fede Alvarez, however you say his name. You know what's funny? The first time I watched this movie, I hated it. I didn't like it at all, which I
I
think
agree.
surprised so many people because when I told people that I hated this movie, they were like, "What? How do you hate this?" The more I
Yeah,
watched it, the more I was like, What am I talking about? Like, this movie is actually really good. I think what threw me out of it at first was that the movie had nothing to do with Ash Williams. And I'm not just saying that because, like, Bruce Campbell wasn't in it, because somebody else could have played Ash. Like, I guess I just expected somebody else to take on that role, but that's not
Like a
what you
full
get
on
in
remake.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a full on remake. That's what I was expecting. And you don't get that with this. And I like that now. Like, the more that I think about it, the more I'm like, this is the way to remake Evil Dead. You know, do something that's still its own thing, but stays kind of true to what the original was. It does kind of retell that story, but Fetty did it in his own way. You know what I'm saying? So I'm putting this at number 4 because this would have been last on my list years ago. Hated the movie, but I have grown to really actually love this movie a ton. And yeah, number 4, Evil Dead 2013. Also, check this out if you haven't seen it, because I know a lot of people aren't fans of horror remakes, which is fine because a lot of them really are garbage. This one is definitely not garbage in my opinion. So, number 4, Evil Dead 2013.
Yeah, man. You know what? I totally agree with you. So do I. I have the
Ah,
2013
okay,
remake.
nice.
Yeah, man,
Yeah,
because uh it's one of those films that came out at a time where the whole remake craze, it was a
yeah,
lot better than a lot of the remakes
yeah,
at the time.
yep,
But like you said, man, so did I. I had to watch it plenty of times to really.
exactly. To let it
Yeah,
sink
man.
in.
But I
To
remember
yeah,
at the first time I really like it, it wasn't all that because it felt
hmm,
like the typical bloodbath kind of movies, not too much
yeah,
into it. Like you
yep.
said, man, if you're into that, like the whole,
It's definitely a
gory stuff.
splatter fest. Yeah, there's a ton of gore in it.
Yeah, man. And from what I heard, they used practical effects with this, but I mean, you
Yeah.
could tell it's CGI though. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. But that's one of those movies where, yeah, like the first time I seen it, man, I just did not like it. I had to let it sink in. I had to watch it more times, and then I started seeing like why people like the movie. So
Yeah.
I think
And
it's
a lot,
good.
one of the main reasons people liked it was because of the character Amy, or what was her name?
Was it
Amy
Amy?
Maria, something like that.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Let me see if it's
the
on the
new
back.
the new supposedly Ash character, the new hero, right? And supposedly there was supposed to be a continuation after this remake, where that
Yeah,
character and Ash were supposed to like get together,
Mia.
but
Her name was
Mia.
Mia in this. Yeah. I
Oh, there
would
we
have
go.
actually
Yeah, yeah,
liked to see a follow up to that. That would, like, if Fetty would have came back and made a follow up to that, that would have been pretty cool.
yeah,
Because it took, Evil Dead took a 10-year break because Rise didn't come out till 2023, which would have been 10 years after 2013. So they took a little break after that. I wonder what that sequel would have looked like, actually. That would have been interesting. I actually wouldn't mind seeing Fetty come back and do another Evil Dead movie. That'd be pretty cool.
yeah, man. I heard a lot of like after Army of Darkness, people were looking forward to Army of Darkness 2.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
out of nowhere, man, we got like the new remake. But the you could say the good thing about this remake is that it had the original like people behind it. Like as
Yeah.
far as Sam Raimi, Bruce Campbell, I guess
Yep.
they were like producers
They were,
compared to
yes,
like other
producers.
remakes
Yep.
at the time.
Yep.
They had nothing to do with their original creator. So
Right. Right.
Sam Raimi, Bruce Campbell, they greenlighted it.
Yep.
Uh, but like you said, but it to me it does feel like a typical like modern like 2010s movie, bloodbath, all that.
Right.
But it was like you said, man. Like it's like my fourth list. Like I
Yeah.
remember at first I didn't really get into it. Yeah,
Bro, that's what I'll say about the Evil Dead franchise, like, as of today. I love that Sam Raimi, the original director of the original Evil Dead, is still involved with the franchise in some way. Like, even if he's not directing,
yeah,
he still, like, produces these films. He still, like, looks over them because he said a lot already about Evil Dead Wrath, and we're a good ways away from that coming out. He said some stuff about Burn as well. So I love that Sam Raimi is still involved with the franchise and is kind of looking over these films, and he's kind of, I'm pretty sure he's even picking directors for the films, which I think is awesome that he still has such a big involvement with the franchise like 45 years later.
yeah, man. Hopefully these new films. I'm looking forward to the new ones
Yeah,
for
man,
sure.
me too. Definitely, bro. They're gonna be great.
So yeah, we're
Number 3, bro. Wait, what were you
yeah.
saying?
No, it's all good. Go ahead. Yeah, yeah,
Oh, okay. Number 3, this is gonna shock you. I think this might shock a lot of people.
yeah.
Evil Dead 2. Um, I'm
Okay.
putting Evil Dead 2 at number 3. Uh because I ultimately almost feel like Evil Dead 2, and a lot of people have said this. I ultimately feel like Evil Dead 2 is just a remake of the first movie with a higher budget. But it's done well. I think it's a great sequel. I just feel like it's more of the same. And I don't mind when movies do this. This is one instant where I don't mind that it's more of the same because the first one worked so well. So I'm okay with this one feeling kind of like the original and going the route that it did. The look of like evil Ash in this movie is iconic. I think it's some of the coolest makeup in horror ever. When Ash Williams
Yeah.
like completely loses his mind in this movie and he's like dancing and all kinds of just crazy stuff is happening. I love how this one just goes off the walls. But I had to put it at number 3 because, yeah, we'll talk about what's next. But this one I think it's classic. You know, it's Sam Raimi. It's Evil Dead 2. What can I really say about it that hasn't been said? Solid sequel. I think. I don't think I would consider this like a perfect sequel though, like I do like Halloween 2 or like Child's Play 2. But I think it's
Yeah.
a respectable sequel. So yeah, Evil Dead 2. I have to put it number 3 because I think there's a couple that are better. So yeah.
Yeah, man. Evil Dead 2 is one of those that, like you said, felt kind of like a remake. Like a lot of people at the time, I guess, were confused about the whole like
Yeah,
Ash
because
going
it
back to the
feels so
cabin.
similar. Yeah.
Yeah, and it kind of like it was like you said, it doesn't really it's not a like as far as like a good follow up sequel.
Yeah.
It didn't really it wasn't really there, you know. But
Mhm.
Evil Dead 2, I feel is another one that like with time people grown like it's a cult classic. People with
Yeah.
time started to like it more. And I think
Right.
because the whole horror comedy, man, I think that was one of the
Yeah.
early as far as like horror comedy, the whole
That's
you know, silly stuff like with the
yeah.
effects. I thought that was like ahead of its time, and
That's kind
it
of
was great.
definitely where the horror comedy stuff started with Evil Dead for sure. And I feel like this is a
Yeah,
movie where Ash Williams, like Bruce Campbell really became Ash Williams. You know what I'm saying? Because this is how Ash was moving forward, even in Army of Darkness, even in the Ash versus Evil Dead show, which I know we're not really talking about tonight, which I do love that show, by the way. But even in that
yeah,
show, he kind of can. This is how Ash always was moving forward after this. So this is really where I think Bruce Campbell found what he wanted the character to be as well.
yeah, totally, man. I get you, but my number three is Evil Dead Rise, man. I know we just talked
Oh,
about Rise,
yeah,
but maybe because I like this was my first Evil Dead. Obviously, I saw in the movie theater, so
yeah, me too.
like
Yeah,
yeah, so like you said, man, it does its job of a modern film. But
right, right.
there was a lot of cool stuff in here. Like I like how they added the whole like Book of the Dead, right? And then with like the
Yeah,
speaker.
like the vinyl record and everything.
Yeah, like you said, man, the
Yeah,
characters were cool. I
strong
know it has to
characters.
deal with the
Yeah,
mom, with the kids. Yeah.
yeah.
And so it was I for sure like I didn't think much of it, but I do it's at least it's more like watchable than the remake for the 2013 remake for me.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I think a lot of people say that. A lot of people put Evil Dead Rise pretty high. I've seen people say it's better than the remake. I don't know, man. I feel like it's tough, man, because I just love this franchise so much.
Yeah.
I guess the reason I just put it last is just I have more of an attachment to the other films. And I think like the ones that I'm gonna talk about are definitely better than that one. But man, putting that at number 3 is not a bad spot. Some people put that at number 1, bro.
Oh
Which
yeah, I've
is
seen that. Oh yeah.
crazy. I think that's crazy, bro. But, I don't wanna give away what my
Yeah.
number 1 is, but no, Evil Dead Rise is awesome. I think that, as I said earlier, Lee Cronin did a great job, man. I'd love to see him do another Evil Dead film.
Yeah, man, and you know what? I think Evil Dead Rise also like it since it was pretty like successful,
Yeah.
it like gained more fans to the whole franchise, I think. So I think that's
Yeah.
why they were quick to come out with the next two ones because since
Yeah.
Rise was so successful, they were you know, it was easy, you know, to come out with two
Yeah.
new films. So I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I hope they do something different than Rise, but I wouldn't be
Definitely.
surprised if it's just a bloodbath like Rise, you know?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm sure it will be, and that is the good thing about Evil Dead Rise is it introduced so many new fans to the Evil Dead franchise, and I always feel
Oh
like
yeah.
if a new film can introduce new fans to the older films, like the original Evil Dead, Evil Dead 2, then that's a great thing, and I think Rise definitely did that, 'cause I feel like a lot of people just when Rise came out, everybody was like on that Evil Dead hype. Everybody just loved Evil Dead at that time, and I think it introduced a lot of new fans to those original films, which I think is awesome. And I think that uh, I give respect to Lee Cronin for that, for actually making a good modern Evil Dead film that introduced some newer fans to the franchise, because that's always a good thing.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, it could be the most like successful one financially, box office
Maybe,
wise. But
maybe.
I could be wrong though. Yeah, but I think I remember just it being one of like the most successful films. But it was all
Yeah,
right, you know. Like it's nothing
right.
great. I wouldn't consider it a great film, but it's all right. It did its thing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It did its job as an Evil Dead movie. I think that's a good way to put it, really. Um,
Yeah, for sure.
Dude, my number two is gonna blow your mind, I think. Number
I
two
think I
on
think I
my
know what it
list.
is. I think I know what it
Do you
is.
want to guess?
The first one, right?
No, Army of Darkness.
Oh shit.
Which
Okay.
is crazy. Okay, Army of Darkness, I put at number two. I'm a big horror comedy fan, and you hit it on the nose earlier. Like,
Yeah.
for as a horror comedy film, this works so well. Evil Dead 2 that I talked about a little bit ago dabbled into the whole horror comedy thing, and then of course, this picks up right where 2 left off. Ash goes back in
Yeah.
time, and the reason I love Army of Darkness so much is how goofy and fun it is. Um, I like that this movie isn't taking itself serious. I don't know why. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm a bigger fan of the Evil Dead being more serious, but for some reason, Army of Darkness worked for me. This is probably my second favorite horror comedy film of all time. I think the rewatch value for Army of Darkness is high for me. I don't know what it is. I even have the Scream Factory Steelbook of this, where it has like the different cuts of the film that has like different endings and everything. This movie has just, I've always loved it since the first time I watched it. And I'm okay with the direction the franchise went at this point. Again, this was directed by Sam Raimi, and I love that he didn't make this feel just like the previous two films. I think, Evil Dead 2 to me felt so much almost like the original, as I said, like a higher budget remake for the original. I love that Sam Raimi went out and was like, dude, I'm making something that doesn't feel anything like the original Evil Dead. And I think that's why I love Army of Darkness so much. And, we have iconic lines in this. Like, this is my boomstick. The whole boomstick thing is iconic. And I don't know,
Hail to
man.
the king, baby. Yeah,
Yeah,
all
Hail
that.
to the King, baby. The whole S Smart thing at the end of the film. And, like,
Yeah.
dude, I
Oh yeah.
just love this movie so much. And I think that's why I have to put it at number two. I would put Evil Dead 2 there, but I don't know. I have a poster of Army of Darkness in my room. So, like, Army of Darkness is definitely one of my favorite horror comedies, like, by far. So that's my number two.
That's dope, man. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
For sure, man. For me, number two is Evil Dead 2. And like you
Yeah.
said, man, Evil Dead is one of those franchises that you don't really mind too much about it
Right.
going the horror comedy route. And I think Evil Dead 2
Yeah.
and Army of Darkness were one of those early films that really paved the way for the horror comedy, you know?
Yeah,
I know there's
definitely.
a lot of early films, like I know there was still, horror comedy in in the 80s, right? But
Oh, yeah.
I think the Evil Dead has a big plays a big part of that for sure.
Yeah, I
Uh
agree.
yeah, man. And like I said, like you said earlier, man, Evil Dead 2, in the beginning, I had to, I didn't dig it that much. I had to
Oh,
watch it a
really?
few
Yeah.
times, and with
Yeah.
time, man, yeah, I just like in the because I never was a big horror comedy guy, but with
Oh,
time,
yeah.
man, you start to appreciate the goofy elements it goes, the
Yeah.
more exaggerated points, and like
Yeah.
you said, uh, it does that really well, and
Definitely.
it's a watchable film, but I think Army of Darkness for me did it too much. It's not as watchable for me, but I totally get
Right.
it. Like I really don't mind. This is one of those series that, yeah, it was meant
You
to
can't
go
go
that route.
wrong, man. You can't go wrong,
Yeah,
though,
you
for
really can,
sure.
and I hope
But,
we see
like,
that more with the new ones. I know
yeah,
Evil Dead Rise and the remake were more like
more
bloodbath, more like,
serious, more, yeah.
yeah,
Like,
they focus more on like blood and gore. But I hope that'll be nice though. But I think also the whole horror comedy route
uh,
has something big to do with Bruce Campbell, man. I think his
right.
role was like iconic, so I think he brought that to the
Definitely.
table. We might not see
Yeah.
Ash no more, like I know he's like Bruce Campbell kind of retired the character, kind of like
Yeah.
Robert did with Freddy, but
Yeah, with Freddy, yeah.
Bruce
Dude, I
Campbell I think played a big role in that. Yeah.
definitely, bro, definitely. You know what's crazy? A lot of people won't agree with me on this because and as I said earlier, I prefer, like, my Evil Dead movies to be more serious, but I would not be mad if we seen a modern day Evil Dead film that's a horror comedy. Like, I feel like that'd be
Oh yeah.
super interesting to see what they would like, almost like us getting an Army of Darkness today. Like, I'm curious on what that would look like and how that would be. I think it'd be pretty cool. Will they go that route? Probably not. But seeing a
Yeah.
modern day, like, horror
True.
comedy Evil Dead, I would be interested in seeing what they did with it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
For sure,
Bro,
man.
I I just love this franchise so much. I'm glad we're getting more movies. I'm glad that the franchise isn't done. Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
man, I think it'd be interesting to see like a modern day Evil Dead horror comedy. And it's funny because like you think like back in the 80s and even
Even though it might
now,
not work, like yeah, it might have worked better in the 80s. Nowadays,
yeah,
probably not. But
true.
like I think Bruce Campbell like played a big role in that. Like, who can they really get now to make that kind of
True.
movie?
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean that was just like a like also Sam Raimi also I think has to be like involved as well. You know, like
definitely.
directing it. Yeah.
It's funny because I think when you tell people, like, horror comedy, like, even back then and now, like, some people probably think, "How does that mix?" I think it's funny how, like, the horror genre and the comedy genre actually goes together so well, if it's done right, though.
Yeah.
Because 'Cause I've seen some horror comedies that are not great. If it's done right, those genres blend so well, man. Like, like Return of the Living Dead, one of my favorite horror comedies.
Yeah.
Tucker and Dale vs. Evil. I love that movie. Shaun of the Dead. Like those are fun movies. If they're done right,
Oh
that
yeah.
really works, which is funny. Like Bride of Chucky, like that blend just works. And you would think that it wouldn't. And I think that's another reason I love Army of Darkness so much because I feel like that blend worked.
Yeah, man.
But
It goes hand in hand. Like you said, it goes
yeah,
hand in hand.
definitely,
And
bro.
there's been a lot of great films that trying to cater to that. But
Yeah,
yeah, I mean with
definitely.
time I've grew to like the more comedy stuff in horror, you know? I
Oh
remember like I
yeah,
said in the beginning, I didn't really like how like they try to retell the whole Ash going to the cabin, to the woods.
right.
But I think the
Yeah,
main attraction, man, to Evil Dead 2 is the whole practical effects and all that good stuff. Like
definitely.
Army of Darkness did, you know? But
Yeah.
yeah, I agree though. Yeah.
Number one on my list. This isn't really surprising to anyone, I don't think. And that
Yeah.
is The Evil Dead. Like, definitely, in my opinion, by far the best in the franchise. It is. It's
Uh,
yours as well. Okay. The Evil Dead to me, like, I mean, this was a low budget horror film. Literally had like no budget, like a shoestring budget. Sam Raimi got some friends together, which includes Bruce Campbell, of course, and they just shot a movie out in a cabin. The effects in this
yeah.
movie, though, dude, they hold up so well. There's parts in this movie where even to this day, I think it's very disturbing and creepy. It's almost cringeworthy, like how nasty some of the effects look. And to this day, I think this is still Sam Raimi's best film. But The Evil Dead, 45-year-old film, still holds up to this day. Still one of the gnarliest, nastiest films out there. And I love this movie. It's rewatchable. It's one of my all-time favorite horror films. It's probably in the top 10 for me. And dude, I just love The Evil Dead. I love this movie so much for sure. So what do you have to say about The Evil Dead? I'm not surprised that it's your number one. I think it's a lot of people's number one.
Yeah, man. I mean, it stands the test of time, you know. A
Yeah.
lot of these effect, like practical effects, you could say were kind of. I wouldn't say they outdated, but like you said, man, they still look creepy as hell compared to the remake. All
Yeah.
that like I know the remake created a lot of similar scenes to this, like the whole,
Yeah.
you know, the girl in the cabin.
Right.
All that looked CGI, man. But at the time, this was 1981.
Yeah.
Hey, man, it
All
was like a
practical, man.
yeah, man, and it stands the test of time. It looks more realistic than
Definitely.
anything modern, you know. And
Yeah.
like I said, it's kind of like your slow paced movie. Of course, you got your typical, you know, teenagers going to the woods, but Evil Dead also paved the way for like the whole cabin in the woods scenario. I agree, you know,
Definitely.
and
Definitely. I
Yeah,
think it
man.
paved the
I
way
just
for, horror movies also taking place in, like, one setting. Like, even Evil Dead Rise did that, taking place in a skyscraper. Like, there's a ton of horror films
oh
that
yeah.
now take place in just one setting, and I think Evil Dead was one of the earliest films to do that because this whole movie pretty much takes place in a cabin the entire time. So I think it kinda paved the way for that as well.
Yeah, man. One of my favorite like the scenes that stick out to me is like the whole tree branch scene, the
Dude, yeah.
possessed tree branch. Like
The
that's
tree, yeah,
the
the
whole
rape
like
scene,
effects. It
dude.
like trips me out, every time I watch it.
Dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, the movie The Evil Dead is such a gritty movie. There's no light
Oh
parts
yeah.
about it. It's a super dark film, and that's why it holds up so well, man. Like even to this day, I think the Evil Dead can be considered scary. I think some of the stuff that you see in the
Yeah.
Evil Dead, like effects wise, is even better than some of the stuff we get today. Like it holds up so
Oh
well for
yeah.
something that's been out for 45 years, for something that had such a small budget. Dude, the movie holds up perfectly, and it stands the test of time, and a lot of movies don't do that in the horror genre. There's, like, slasher movies that came out in the '80s, around the same time as The Evil Dead, and some of
Oh
those
yeah.
effects, you look back on them and you're like, "Man, that's not that great," but I think the effects in The Evil Dead are still amazing to this day, like, even on 4K. This is a 4K release of The Evil Dead, and I still to this day, even in high definition like this, I think those effects
Hey.
still are gnarly, dude.
Oh yeah. I bet, man. Yeah, yeah. I bet in 4K it looks
It looks
fabulous.
awesome.
And you
Yeah.
know what? Like you said, man, it's to be honest, it might have not been as the first one might have not been as successful as like Friday, Nightmare.
Yeah.
But dude, this is like you said, the practical effects is like more. I think it was even better than the original Friday. The original Friday
Yeah.
was a quick,
I agree.
cookie cutter, right? And but I think Evil Dead, man, really like you said, it just stands out more as far as like some horror
Mhm.
moments in there.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah,
Scary
man, I
stuff.
totally agree. One of those
It
films I never get bored of, rewatching all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
And yeah, dude, it's just great looking at those practical effects. Yeah.
I agree, and, like, Tom Savini, did the work on Friday the 13th and, like, the final chapter, Dawn of the Dead. Everybody if you're a horror fan, you know Tom Savini. He didn't do the effects for The Evil Dead, but I think even for the time, the effects in this movie were on par with a lot of Tom Savini stuff, which is crazy. Because Tom Savini
Yeah.
obviously went on to be, like, one of the biggest horror special effects artists, and I don't know
Yeah.
exactly who did the effects for oh, here it is. Tom Sullivan did the effects for The Evil Dead, and like his work to me is like almost on par with some of the early Tom Savini work. I just really love the effects. That's one thing I think I could praise The Evil Dead the most. Like the story's great, the acting's great. It's even shot well. For I believe that was Sam Raimi's first film.
Oh
Actually,
yeah.
no, they did
The
a short
cinematography is
film
great.
before that. Oh, yeah, amazing. They did a short film before that. I think it was called In the Woods or something. It was still Evil Dead, but it was before Evil Dead. So for
Yeah.
Sam Raimi being so like early on in his career, he did some great work on it, man.
Yeah, man. Usually they do that. I guess they shoot like a certain short film
Yeah,
to like pitch the idea to a big
right.
studio. I don't even think I
Yeah.
think the first one was New Line Cinema, right? I know
Um,
at first they couldn't get a distribution, but at the end I guess it ended up being like New Line Cinema or something like that. I'm not sure.
maybe I don't know.
That's
I
kind
know
of
on the
confusing.
back, this release says it was released by Lionsgate, but I'm not sure who did it. Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
'cause
know.
I
I
think
don't
I've seen
see.
Bruce Campbell talk about it like in a
Was
few
it New Line?
interviews where when they got to part two, they didn't really own the rights to the first one.
Right.
So
Yeah.
they kind of moved on with that. But I'm pretty sure now they secured everything. But
Yeah.
I mean I feel like it wasn't as like it was more underground than like mainstream than like Nightmare on Elm
Definitely.
Street or Friday.
Oh yeah,
But
definitely.
it surpasses, as far as the practical effects, man, the horror elements. Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, I think you're right because I think The Evil Dead The Evil Dead was for the longest time kind of like an underground film, and then it gained like a cult following. And now The Evil Dead is like one of the most iconic horror films ever. Which isn't that amazing
Yeah.
how that happens? How you take Sam Raimi's story and Bruce Campbell's story and all of the cast in The Evil Dead, how they had like no money and Sam Raimi just got his friends together and they shot a film on literally the smallest
Yeah.
budget and then literally made one of the most iconic horror films ever. So it just goes to show that's very motivational because that
Oh
just
yeah.
goes to show that you could get your friends together, shoot a movie, and you have no idea what's going to happen with it. If you get it distributed or shown at like a film festival, dude, you can make something iconic, and that was proven by Sam Raimi with The Evil Dead. And kind of the same with Terrifier now. Terrifier was not mainstream when the first film came out. It didn't even get a theatrical run, and then Terrifier 2 comes out. It gets a theatrical run and makes like $10 million. It's just amazing how if you just create something, how it could blow
Yeah,
up like that. And The Evil Dead was one of the earliest films I think to do that.
yeah, man, for sure. It really proved the point, and
Yeah,
as far it really, you also reminded me of like Saw with like James Wan,
right.
Lee Winnell.
That was a
It's
short film
just
at first
friends.
too, I think.
Yeah, they did a short film for that before,
Yeah,
the whole major picture. And
yeah,
so low budget stuff, I think, make a film, so make something out of nothing is really effective, man. And a
yeah,
lot of films prove that. With
definitely.
Terrifier, Damien
Yep,
Leone, right?
yep,
Saw, and also Sam Raimi, man, with
yep,
this Evil Dead. I mean, like you said, man,
exactly.
to this day, it's still part of the same timeline. So
Right,
it's really consistent. I agree, man. And I think Evil Dead
definitely.
really, it's an iconic property. It's an iconic franchise in the whole genre. So you really can't
Yeah,
deny it. Yeah.
right, right. It's very motivational, especially for like any upcoming filmmaker, no matter what genre, especially in horror, though, it just shows that you can make it. I think Quentin Tarantino at one point said that if you want to make a movie, just make it because you don't know like what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Don't wait around. Don't wait for you to get a certain amount of money to have a budget. Don't wait around to get a
All
perfect
you gotta do is
location.
have
Like
a
just make
camera.
it. Yeah,
Yeah, have a
and just
camera,
make it.
whatever, on your simple, especially nowadays in modern times, we all have a phone. You can
Yeah,
simply do
shoot
it
it
with
on a
that.
phone. Yeah, and that's what
Yeah,
they did with
and
like 28 years
I'm pretty
later.
sure people have like been successful with that. Like
Yeah,
shoot, like I'm not totally like sure on names, but I've heard that plenty of times where like people
yeah,
were quick to shoot like a simple concept, a simple film on the phone, and they were quick
yeah.
to release a major picture out of that. But
Right.
speaking about like Evil Dead and stuff, man, I'm wearing Freddy versus Jason. What would
Oh,
you have
nice.
liked to see a Freddy versus Jason versus Ash? I know it sounds kind of silly now.
Oh, no, that's a good question. I know they
Yeah.
did the comic series that took place after the movie. I actually
Oh
would have
yeah.
loved to have seen that. I wish that they would have done that. That would have worked because, I've read some of the comics like way back when, and I think
Oh
that would
yeah.
have worked. I really think that would have worked because we talked about like Jason Goes to Hell on I think the last episode a little bit. How Adam Marcus thrown in like the Necronomicon and like Jason's a Deadite, which I know some people don't like. But if you continued
Yeah.
that route and then made Freddy versus Jason and then had Ash, I don't know, cameo at the very end of that film, and then make a sequel
Yeah.
where Ash is involved, like, dude, I think it would have worked because reading those comics back, like it's a good continuation of that story, and I would have loved to seen a full film like that for sure. And Bruce Campbell as Ash in the early 2000s, like being involved with that film, if they would have made it, would have been cool. Because I don't like, I think, like you said, Bruce Campbell has kind of like hung up the chainsaw, if you will. He's not going to play Ash anymore, which is sad. But that would have been cool to see Ash go up against like Freddy and Jason. Would have been pretty epic, in my opinion.
Yeah, man. I mean, he came back for the Evil Dead series, Ash versus Evil Dead, right? He did a
Yeah, yeah,
great job on that. Imagine
he
like
did.
something if he were to reprise that role between Army of Darkness and the series, it would have
Yeah,
been the perfect timing, man. But I
right.
guess I mean, I get it. It probably would have been cheesy, but I think it still would have been one for the books for sure. It would have been like
Yeah,
major. It would have been major.
definitely.
Yeah.
It would have been a big deal for sure because so many
And
people
also,
wanted a
a lot of the
sequel.
comics, I haven't read the whole comics. I read like a
Yeah,
few of them, but I know a lot of that concept, a lot of that story was like big budget, and so at the time, I guess it was too, especially for like franchises, like they didn't look at it like, I guess, like a whole like universe or whatever they like to call it now.
mhm,
So
yeah,
and I know like the comic books did a lot of all different kinds of stuff, and
definitely.
maybe they didn't want to risk the high budget, but I
True.
would have loved to seen that, man, for sure.
Yeah, dude, definitely. Because so many people wanted a sequel to Freddy versus Jason. Also, like people still want it to this day, which I don't think is ever going to
Yeah.
happen. I don't think we're ever going to see another Freddy versus Jason
Oh
movie. I
no.
don't even think they would remake it. I think it's just
Way
that's
too
it. Like
late.
that's yeah. But that would have been interesting, and that would have been the way to go. So it's unfortunate that they didn't. And by that time, you got to think Freddy versus Jason came out in like 2003, right? So if they would have made a sequel and done it in like 2005 or six, Bruce Campbell would have been a little bit younger still, and it would have just been cool to see Ash during that time because like the Ash versus Evil Dead show was like 2017 or something. So they waited a long time to do that show because like the Evil Dead remake came out and people were like, we want to see Ash Williams again, and that's how the show happened. And they did that show
Yeah.
dirty, by the way, man. They ended it with 3 seasons, and there really was no conclusion. Like the third season ended on a cliffhanger. I wish somebody would pick it up and they would do like at least one more season.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, I seen a little bit. I think I've seen like the first season, but I
Yeah,
never I don't think I never finished it. But yeah, I
yeah,
do remember like I don't know where they canceled it, and
yeah,
even I
yeah.
think Bruce
Stars
Campbell has
canceled.
talked about it. He was like disappointed with it. Yeah,
Yeah, it's sad, dude.
it
But no,
was out of
I
nowhere.
agree. Yeah, it was. It was out of nowhere. But like I said, I agree, man. I would love to see Freddy versus Jason versus Ash. I know they were going to involve Pinhead as well at some point, which I think, I mean, that could have worked. I would have been okay to see that because I think like Freddy and Jason were supposed to go to hell at some point, like in the comics, and then Pinhead was supposed to be in hell, which, I mean, that would have been kind of cool to see, honestly.
Yeah, man. I mean, these ideas might sound kind of dumb, but at the end of the day, like, yeah, we would all enjoy that stuff. Hell
Yeah.
yeah, that's like a
Dude, for
horror fan's
sure.
dream.
I
Yeah,
know, right? Yeah. So that's our ranking for the Evil Dead franchise. I told everyone in the beginning it'd probably be a shorter show tonight. Next week, I'm pretty sure we're gonna have a pretty much a stacked Saturday Night Dies. I know a lot of
yeah,
people's busy tonight, and I just wanted to get on here and rank the Evil Dead franchise. I thought that'd be pretty fun. So thank you for joining tonight and giving us your ranking for Evil Dead. But yeah,
yeah, man. Had a great
I
time, man. Appreciate you having me again. I know
yeah, man.
we were supposed to have more people on here for tonight. But like you said, man, it's not a big deal if you can't make it
Yeah,
for
definitely.
every show. Like you said, we
Right.
be busy. But hell
We
yeah,
have
man. I'm
to.
having
Yeah.
I'm having a great time with these new
Yeah, man.
episodes, and
Me too, man.
I appreciate you, man. Like having me as
Yeah.
a guest again. Hell yeah.
No problem, bro. And like I said, next week I'm not too sure like on what the topic's gonna be quite yet. But I think it's gonna be a pretty awesome show next week for sure. But yeah, I thought it'd be fun to rank
Yeah,
the
we'll
Evil
figure
Dead
it out. We'll
franchise.
figure it out for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. And as always, subscribe to Michael Myers. His channel will be linked in the description. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Thank you to everyone in the chat. Shout out to Headhunter, he was in here. And we will see you guys next week.
Peace out, man.